welcome on in to a fresh episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. Super hyped to be back coming at you with a Stony Sports Report, your latest and greatest in sports news. On today's episode, we are going to blaze up some peyote cookies and dive straight into this episode of the show. Gotta love the Stony Sports Report every Wednesday morning. Your sporting news from your favorite stoned anchor man, the Prosesher Sky. I am gonna give my beautiful co-host one more day off. She had a really recovery-based weekend, you know what I mean? Trying to get feeling right, and she's got work later today, so we'll let her get a little bit of extra sleep. And we will dive face first into some sports news and our morning smoke, because after all, we are blessed to have a woke, so we are blessed to have a smoke, and we might as well do it together, Roll Gang, because I love you guys, and maybe you guys would want to sesh with somebody if you're feeling a little bit lonely. Then I 100% would love to smoke up a joint with you. Our question that I wanted to ask you guys this morning for answers on all of the streaming platforms wherever you may be consuming the show. The question is, who is your favorite team or star player that you follow? Who is your favorite sports team or star player? Would love to get your answer, your input on today's Stony Sports Report episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake, and get the input from all the Roll Gangsters, because I love you guys so much, and I would love to help cover your favorite team and athlete. So let me know what your favorite star player or team is, and wherever you're getting this podcast, and I would love to share with all the rest of the Roll Gang. But before we get on into the latest and greatest in sports news, got some really awesome stories coming up from the UFC and from Formula One, two great uprising sports leagues. Before I get on into that, gotta give a major shout out to the sponsors of the show, because they make it possible for the Weekday Wake and Bake, and also help out all the Roll Gangsters along the way. First and foremost, the first ever cannabis college, Oaksterdam University. My proud alma mater and the official place to go to claim your stake in this budding industry. If you are trying to learn about this amazing plant and how it produces such a vibe, or how you could produce a cannabis-centric business, or how you could grow some of this amazing plant, you name it, you can learn it over at Oaksterdam University, the cannabis college Ivy League for the cannabis industry. And also, this episode is brought to you by the handy dandy multi-tool that helped me dime up this Pearl in a Blazy Susan, the Rolling Spoon Cannabis Multi-Tool. We got the Oaksterdam spoon here this morning. This baby helping me to roll a dime every time. I not only can scoop my herb and distribute it evenly amongst my joint, but the opposite end of the rolling spoon serves as a poker so that you can pank down the extra bit of herb in your joint. And then also a joint locking mechanism. You can use the obscure shape of the tip to fold the end of the joint down in a succession of folds to close off and seal the end of your joint. Super professionally and super easily. And it's much better to seal it that way because it still allows airflow to pull through the entry. Whenever you twist the joint, it's hard to get an even spark. But if you fold it with your handy dandy rolling spoon, not only roll a dime every time, but perfectly spark it every time. A perfectly even spark. Every single time. Absolutely love all the roll gangsters tuning in. Shout out Rob Hine. Yo, we got at Shop Medicine tuning into the show. That is my original trap. I absolutely love trapping the vibes over at Shop Medicine. Come roll through 4 to midnight tonight, later on today, and get some fuego from me over at the store. And if you're coming in too early, the homie Rob Hine tuning into the show, he will be there this morning to help you get the perfect flavor for you. I'm smoking on some peyote cookies this morning, and I'm about to dive face first into some of the latest and greatest in sports news. The first story coming from Budapest, Hungary, where the Formula One Hungarian Grand Prix took place this past weekend. So if you guys have been watching the show, you know I personally love F1, and it's really a growing sports league. And the Hungarian Grand Prix is Red Bull's home Grand Prix, the Hungaroring. And so they broke the all-time record for most Formula One races won to start the season in the history of the sport. Red Bull has won all 12 of the past, this season's Formula One races, just being completely dominant, not even sharing any of the love. Max Verstappen has won 7 in a row himself, and Red Bull just absolutely flying with the supreme results. Gotta give a shout out to Max Verstappen, winning 7 races in a row. But British Lando Norris, driver for McLaren, has finished second 2 races in a row. And this past weekend in Hungary, Lando Norris broke Max Verstappen's victory trophy. While they were on the podium, Lando Norris smashed Max's trophy with his bottle of champagne and broke Max's first place trophy. Really fucking funny. Gotta love Lando Norris and all of that personality coming for McLaren. But shout out Red Bull and Max Verstappen, complete and utter dominance to start the season of Formula One. Gotta love fresh Formula One news. And a quick shout out to Oaksterdam University, the first ever cannabis college to boost your cannabis knowledge. Make sure you use promo code ROLLINGSPOON to get 10% off your industry tuition. Would absolutely love to become an alumnus with you. I studied a couple years ago in Oakland, California, and I absolutely loved it. So the last piece of sports news that we got here on this Stony Sports Report episode is coming from the UFC, where this upcoming weekend, so the Grand Prix was last weekend, but this upcoming weekend is one of the most lit UFC cards I have ever seen. This has the prospect to be an absolute banger from start to finish, with the main event for the Bad Motherfucker Championship, the BMF belt, Dustin Poirier, the Diamond, versus Justin Gaethje. That's right, Dustin versus Justin on the main event, and both of these fighters are absolute brawlers, just violent and persistent, unbelievable resolve and gas tank, if you will. It is set to be absolute fire. We got Wonderboy Thompson on the card. We got Jan Blachowicz fighting Alex Pineda. That is going to be an absolute banger. And I think the sleeper fight of the night is probably going to be Bobby Green versus Tony Ferguson. There's just so many fights on this card coming up that are going to be super lit. And I really hope you guys get to tune in and watch. Would absolutely love to watch with all the homies tuning in to the Weekday Wake and Bake this Saturday, starting at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, the whole way through midnight, probably. So that is it for your Stony Sports Report this week. We've got the Formula One Grand Prix last weekend from Budapest, Hungary, where Red Bull and Max Verstappen continue their streak of dominance, winning every race this entire season so far. And this upcoming UFC event is about to be an absolute banger. Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier this Saturday. And would absolutely love to know in the comments section, wherever you're consuming this episode, who is your favorite team or star player that you like to follow? Would love to report on whoever your favorites are, and definitely contribute to your favorite fandom. But I love the Tennessee Titans and the UFC. I think the best sport to watch is fighting, and I think the best team to watch is the Tennessee Titans. But those are just my squads. So would love to know yours wherever you're getting this podcast. Let me know in the comments section, and we will definitely be sure to report on your favorites as well. Absolutely love all of y'all, and we'll be back tomorrow morning. Definitely going to get Rachel back on the show for your Canon News Thursday, one of my favorite episodes of the week, where we break down the latest and greatest in cannabis industry news while we smoke up a shiesty joint. See you tomorrow, Rolling Spoon channels on all the streaming platforms. Mwah! Love you, Roll Gang.